David Coverdale, the writer. And we also have Millsom, the actor. So let's get straight into it. I'll start with you, David. So tell us about the idea. Like, where did it originally come from?
It sounds kind of ridiculous, but from a woman I saw on a train, who...
It sounds really stalky, but it's fine.
Yeah, no, it does.
That he took a photo of, by
yeah,
the way.
A photo came out the first day of rehearsal, but like, so this is who this is. And it kind of came from, it was when it was really hot, I think it was last May or something, and she was saying like full coat, full hat, like everything, and I was just completely kind of obsessed, because I saw her over the space of about a week kind of numerous times, which is when I inevitably kind of took a picture at the end. Yeah, and I was...
She did actually look a bit like me as well.
No, she actually does.
She really does.
And she was reading and she didn't have a phone, and I just thought it was really fun that she was kind of totally at odds with kind of what was around her. I really liked that. And it was actually my mum who then did the rest of the idea. Agnes was a friend of my nana's who kind of sent us cards all the time. And kind of in a backwards way, she lived much longer than my nana did, but we still got the cards and we still didn't see her. But then the cards stopped, and we that thought kind of stuck with me a little bit, like what that meant that those cards weren't there, which is where it all came from. So yeah, train lady and my mum is inspirations.
And then how did Kat fit into it? Did you think of her straight away when you started?
Go on, tell it. No, it wasn't his thought. His dad's suggestion.
Yeah, no, it was my dad. Because me and Kat worked together about 6 or 7 years ago now. It was quite a while ago. And I was kind of with this script / idea / really frightening deadline of tonight. And yeah, I dropped Kat a really casual message on Facebook being like, "Are you busy?" And she was like, "No, I'm free." And I kind of masked the fact that it was a one-woman play and kind of a really exposed surrounding.
Would you be available to lead my play? Like lead, literally what I said in the lead. I'm thinking amazing. Sends me the script. I'm thinking, where are the other people?
And I was like, yeah, it's just you. You're in a bookshop. There's not really any distance between anyone. And she didn't run away, which is fab. So
Not yet.
Not yet. She might not come back tomorrow.
So that leads us nicely on to you. So this is a big departure from what you're used to. You've done big ensemble West End shows and toured around the world. Now you've got nobody else. It's just you.
No.
How's that been? How are you feeling right now?
Massive hot is how I'm feeling right now. Very warm. It is massively out of my comfort zone. I'm not going to mask that fact. It kind of shouldn't be, because I did actually do an acting degree. I didn't train in musical theatre, but I haven't done a play for probably about 8 years. I think 2011 was the last one. So it is a bit of a, yeah.
And has it been enjoyable coming back to that?
It has. I was petrified to start with, and after I'd said yes, I was pacing around my house going, literally talking to myself going, what have I done? I can't do this. Why have I said yes? I can't do it. It's just me. I can't do this. I was literally like having to calm myself, talk myself off a ledge a little bit. But no, it has been enjoyable, and I was petrified to start with. I couldn't hide behind a singing voice, and I couldn't, it was literally bare, just me, very close to the audience. And I was a bit like, oh, can I do this? But then I was like, no, yes, you can. You're going to, whether you want to or not, because you said yes.
So within that, the rehearsal process, how long did you actually have in the end? Do you know? Have you worked it out how?
It grew and grew because we needed it. Not kind of what you saw tonight was very different to what I first put in front of Catherine, and for me to sit here and take the credit is completely unfair, because it kind of, I think from the first time we met, it became really kind of the amount of Ashley in the script, and even Gabby kind of stepped like as stage manager to be as involved as Gabby was as well.
So Ashley was the director who then stepped in as a dramaturg.
Wait.
Oh, it was the other way around. Ashley agreed to be dramaturg, and that was kind of went, oh, you're going to direct as well, cool. Kind of what happened.
To be fair, that's the better option, because from what I understand, you were just going to give me a script and say go. So I'm quite pleased.
No, but we've spent more time than we anticipated, but I don't think any of it has been wasted. It's all been really kind of. It's changed a lot, and it's been really. I'm not going to sit and go. It's been amazing. It's been really tough at times.
We did have. I'm gonna tell the story of the thread. We did have one rehearsal, which was just. Yeah, David wasn't there. It was just me, Gabby, and Ashley. And Ashley sat there and went, I probably shouldn't ask this question, because I've got a feeling if I do, I'm going to pull a thread and the entire thing is going to come apart. But is this a job that is done by a human, or is it like done by machines? And we sat there and went,
oh shit.
What is it? We were like, what is her job? And you know when you're like, I don't even. So we kind of, Gabby got onto the internet and was like researching like Royal Mail jobs and stuff, and we were sort of going, but what does she do? And does she work for the return centre or does she work for? And yeah, so we had one rehearsal where the three of us were literally like this. We don't know what we're doing, and I literally sat at one point and went, I'm not doing a Q&A if I don't know what I'm doing, because some smart ass is going to ask me what the job is, and I'm not going to know.
We did a lot of rewrites after that.
That brings us quite nicely to our audience. Does anybody at this point have any questions? Anybody? Great. I will carry on.
Yeah, David, where's this piece going to?
No, I kind of had a bit of a light bulb last night, but I think kind of the length it's at, it's not a play on its own, but I think it does maybe work as part of something bigger. I don't know, but there is kind of a bit of a thought there after I've slept. And then I might
What's that?
Oh, your bit stays the same, you don't have to learn anything else, it's fine.
They're going to be other people.
No, I don't, maybe something.
So for everybody's information, this is the second play that you've written.
It is, yes. Within 6 months of the last one, which is a ridiculous thing to do. Yeah, my last one my last and first was in August at the Camden Fringe, and the application to vault literally went off 2 days later, when I promised myself I was going to sleep and not do anything.
You didn't expect to be accepted though, did you?
No, I didn't, and part of me secretly actually hoped they were going to say no, because I was like, because it was literally an idea, half a character, and certainly nowhere near a script. So we've worked really kind of, yeah, but it's play number 2. And probably put the two
Of
together.
two.
And we get them, yeah, play number 2 of 2.
And has it been a bigger challenge with fewer characters?
Yes. Oh, it's been,
Talk
yeah.
about
I think because I couldn't find the voice to begin with, because I'm not a woman. And I made a very conscious decision that everybody around me on the team was going to be female, because I think the voices that I was getting were really important to trying to make it not sound like mansplaining. Kind of in the back of my head the whole time I was like, David, don't mansplain.
There were kind of northernisms in there as well. I went, David, what does chunter mean?
Yeah, chunter became grumble because I'm very northern and Kat is very
Like, I
northern.
don't know what that means.
But yeah, this has been really tough actually, especially because my last play had kind of a very mini outing, and then 2 rehearsed reads, and then the production. This one, we've not had that kind of luxury, so we've had to really cram all of that workshopping and trying things out into about a grand total of about a week if you put it all together. So yeah, it's been hard, but I'm absolutely over the moon, to be honest. I was really happy sat in the little back there listening to what was going on. So yeah, no, yeah.
And talking more about your character, so David mentioned people that inspired the character. Was there anybody that you drew from? Anybody that you thought about?
When we did a bit of a hot seat. One of the very first things we did a bit of a hot seat, and I used a bit of my own childhood to a certain extent when I was talking about like Agnes's childhood. I used certain stories, and at one point like that was in, and then it was out. Do you know what I mean? Sort of it helped the process. I can't speak now. Sorry. Yeah. So I used a little bit of myself when thinking about when we were talking about her childhood, and we were talking about her relationship with her godmother. To a certain extent, her relationship with her godmother, I picture like one of my parents' oldest friends kind of in my head when we were talking about her initially. But there's, Mum chuckles because she knows who I'm talking about. Oh yeah, it's Mum, by the way. Hi, Mum.
I don't think about pencil cases, believe it or not.
I don't want to know. Dad had a wonderful one, thanks.
Yeah, comparing yourself to.
Sorry.
Right. I don't want to think about your dad.
I don't either, thank you very much. Anyway.
Are there similarities within, or things that you see reflect out of Agnes's character that you perhaps agree with? Things that
There's a really silly thing that I can't bear the wireless earphones. They drive me insane. I hate them. But also, when I sit on a train, I will quite often sit and read or look out the window rather than watch something. which is really a really silly little kind of comparison, but that's something that I kind of, in that respect, I'm not totally similar to her because I did have to take my Fitbit off before I did the show because I went, she wouldn't wear a Fitbit. But no, it's silly little things like that, I guess.
And so for you, David, are there things that you put in there while you were writing that you think about when you...
Do you know, there's probably a lot more than I want to admit, actually. No, people joke that I'm a very kind of old soul, like I'm the oldest 26-year-old you'll ever meet in your life. Like I do just go home and have a cup of tea and go to bed. Like I'm not exciting. Yeah, there's probably a lot more than I want to kind of admit about that. I don't hold letters in my rucksack, but I think kind of being such an old soul is probably the thing where kind of she's quite kind of passive. I'm not passive in kind of the world around me, but I think kind of her approach is quite similar to what goes on in my head sometimes when I just go and step back and just kind of watch it all happen.
It was quite interesting because initially she was supposed to be much older, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. She got a lot younger with the casting of Catherine. I don't know what I pictured her age to be, but when Kat kind of came into my head and came on board, and then so much of it changed as Kat kind of started to work with it, I think that made it even more interesting. Kind of the backstep in the age, kind of it would have been quite.
Because we were talking about the things that she says, and at one point with the whole watching the world, which kind of whiz by on the train or whatever. He was like, "But that's that's quite old," and I was like, "No, because I do. I do. I will literally sit there and be like, oh, look at the pretty fields," because I'm in a little world of my own. But no, that's
Well, that's why I asked about the similarities, because obviously we are still of that generation where we did used to send letters. Perhaps not you, but certainly me and Kat. we before, and even recently, I think that in the news this week, Paper Chase have announced that they're going to be closing a few stores.
I love Paper Chase.
Everybody does that. It's a sign of the times, and it shows and reflects that what you've summarised in this story quite beautifully is that change and that progress. And is it progress, or is it? And our characters like Angus holding on to something that is sacred to her, but we do move on. And
I hate to say it, but when I mentioned New Kids on the Block, he did have to Google who they were as well.
I had to text being like, if you listened to a band when you were young, who was it? And then she responded, I was like, great, that's in.
And then he had to Google them because he didn't know who they were.
Yeah, that's a true story.
Amazing, right? Oh, Ralph.
Hi. I just wondered, you've written a play about grief and the effect that might have on someone in the long term. It's not people don't really approach writing plays and about grief very often because it can be quite a tricky subject to navigate, especially in a world of entertainment. People find it very tricky. They want to talk about the sad things. And I found the piece really interesting, the way you've got into it through her connection to letters and what have you. But what I'm curious, if it's not too personal, to find out what prompted you to write a play about a subject such as grief.
Do you know what's really funny? It didn't actually start off as about that, and we kind of became more aware of it as it came on. I think the big point of it was the section where her dad gets a birthday card from somebody who had died literally 2 years before that actually happened. I remember it really, really clearly. My godmother, it all happened exactly the same. But I didn't actually, I think it was once we got involved with the Let's Talk thing, we got an email from Vault about it saying, this is happening, this is what it is. And I kind of texted Ashley going, look, this is a thing. I feel like we might be linked to it. I don't really know. And it was never something that was actually in kind of our heads, well, in terms of my head writing it. It was something we really kind of picked through in the rehearsal room, and then we realised there was a lot more in there than I actually realised there was. So I'd love to say it's really clever writing, but we kind of realised kind of after that it was all kind of there already.
That's okay. Sometimes you discover things as you're developing something. That's.
It just kept creeping out, and we just go going, oh and there's that.
Yeah, some of it kind of came out through the kind of the hot seat we did, and some of it came out through talking through it, and there were things. Excuse me. I was sort of the writing letters to her. During the hot seat, I kind of came up with the thing that she still writes letters to Elizabeth, and she kind of uses it as a journal. So it's a kind of quite a, rather than kind of a dear diary or whatever, it is kind of still a dear Elizabeth, and she still tells her everything that's happening. And at one point we had her writing, I was going to be writing letters to Elizabeth as it started, but then we kind of lost that because it was just, for whatever reason. But we sort of, when then it was kind of,
I mean, we were still kind of picking things out literally yesterday.
Yeah.
We were kind of in our last day of rehearsal. We promised ourselves a run at a certain point, and we did do it. We actually did do it on time. It was fabulous.
Then I
But we were
refused to do
still.
I was like, no, that one went too well. I'm not doing another one.
Yeah, we left yesterday on all kind of a wing and a prayer. We were like, that run went really well. Let's run with that, and actually it worked out really well. But yeah, we were still kind of picking little bits and kind of discovering more even yesterday, which I think kind of we could still have kept going with it, to be honest. Had we
Yeah,
not had to
definitely.
stay, we could have just kept kind of Ashley's really good at asking those right questions, where we
All the
kind
other
of
ones.
yeah, the questions that kind of make it all fall apart, but those questions that really kind of made it kind of a thing as well. It was
So
yeah.
when she starts it with, I probably shouldn't ask this.
I was already halfway out the door. I was like, I'm done.
Amazing. Anybody else before we wrap it up? Oh,
I do have. Somebody else does.
So just a very light-hearted comment,
God.
but in lieu of what you've just very successfully written, and which has been very, very successfully performed.
It's my stepdad, everyone. He's very biased.
I don't know where he's going.
But not really.
I don't know where he's going with this either.
In lieu of what you might write in the future, are you likely to hand deliver those to potential producers?
I'm like, hello. Pay for everything. I wish that was a thing.
You can borrow my shirt.
Yeah, I'll steal the shirt.
Can we have a role for the mother, please?
Yes.
thank you. Right, what's your Twitter handle again?
So we're at From Afar Play. Very original. Yes, please do. If you've got any thoughts, please do email us or tweet us. The email address, like I said, is upstairs. We're kind of going with the work in progress vibe, which is really exciting. So please do email us thoughts, questions, anything really. Just
And how many
talk to us.
performances have you got?
We have 3 more after this one. We're till Saturday. Here every day in this lovely little basement. Actually, is yeah.
Really nice.
That's good.
Perfect. Thank you very much.